What is up, guys, and welcome back to part 10. Finally at race 10, which is the French Grand Prix on my team career on F1 2020. So we're just going to start off by doing the activities. Can't really match it to the perfect 9-day schedule, but I think we get it to 8 days. Leave a day spare, that's our rest day, I guess. Yeah, let me know, guys, what do you think of the series so far? Whether you think we should do a custom livery for the British Grand Prix. As the team is British, I am British. I'm thinking just a big Union Jack or something like that. But it could be fun. Just a one-off before we change the livery for next season, because I'm not really happy with the current livery again. It's like, I want to spend some proper time making one, but there's no point. I'm going to do it in the end of the season when I've probably unlocked a lot more cool ones. As we do decide as well to buy the simulator to increase the pace of our second driver, as Mick is just continuously last. Or the analysis suite rather. That's it, we buy fabrication. So we can increase, because every time I want to upgrade something in aerodynamics, I can't. Something's already being developed, is what you get told. I don't want that. I want two things going. So we've got poor everything. You can see all our parts are worn from the last race, previous race. We keep getting Jeff in the ear going, there's some wear and tear on your MGU, etc. So we just go, instead of taking a 5-place grid penalty, I just decide I'm going to take a full grid penalty. I'm just going to get an extra of everything, equip a new everything. I think everything but new energy store. Why take a 5-place grid penalty when you have to upgrade, when you have to do something the next week and get another 5-place grid? Let's just do it all. Let's start from the back. I'm decently confident round France. Not overly confident, but I know the track. It's pretty simple. There's a lot of runoff area as well, so you can afford to go wide without hitting anything. You just kind of come back onto the circuit, which is kind of nice. So, in that sense, not bad. Yeah, seeing all penalty warnings, I just think, let's just get an extra one just in case. And you can see the standings there. Norton are currently 7th, and I'm thinking we might be able to pinch Racing Point if we keep getting ridiculous results. But they're all me. I'm doing all the results. None are from Mick. Mick's just sitting at the back, happy with the Williams, like, yep, enjoying getting experience. And I'm like, no, don't get experience, get points. So, it is what it is. We're not going to fix Mick quickly. No one's going to be fixed quickly until the car's better anyway. So, I'm just going to go into the race weekend and straight into practice one. I'm going to do the acclimatization, the barriers, just to get the braking points perfect. As you'll see, the braking points aren't perfect straight away, but they get better. Of course they get better. But it is a wet practice here in France. Wet tyres, not intermediates, it's soaked. So I really struggle. Tell me what you guys think as well. I struggle to see the circuit a lot of the time. Luckily, I know it decently enough that I can kind of guide myself around, but like the braking point's obviously a lot earlier in this monsoon on the circuit. You can see we go really wide there. I just struggle to see the circuit in the moment. As I rip the wheel from side to side, the wheel was super twitchy in the wet as well. Just going to start our barriers here. So we hit a few targets. What I end up doing here is I just show the first quarter of this lap, and then I show the perfect lap, which I believe is the second one. I think we hit everything. I think I miss a couple barriers straight away on this, just because of the braking point here. This is the curious one. Yeah, so we just overshoot. Isn't so bad. Here we carry on from the previous lap. This is lap 2. And we absolutely nail a whole circuit, I'm pretty sure, bar like 1 or 2. It's quite a nice track, this, and this straight here is super powerful. It's just, you've got to be really careful with using your overtake mode too often down here, because if you use it once down this straight on one lap for the whole lap, for the whole straight rather, you'll pretty much lose 50% of your ERS, 40%. In one go, so you've got to be really careful. If you can use DRS, do not use ERS, etc. Don't ever use both down there. It's not worth it unless you're fighting for the lead, which, spoiler alert, we're not. Yeah, It's not a wise decision to do. You can see pretty much nailing this circuit, even in the wet, because you got a nice dry line to follow as well. Dry-ish, it's still soaked, but it's drier than the rest. And our temperature and our tyres don't seem to be getting too hot, as it takes a lot to kind of heat up the wet tyres, so you don't really need to cool them either, which is great. As you can see here, turn 14. Around the outside. But we hit green on one, just one, and it's heartbreaking. It could have been a full purple, but we got one little green dot. Here's what it is. I'm not going to improve that score, so I decided to call it after that practice run. I think I've got the circuit pretty nailed now, after just doing a few practices. I believe we are last in practice. We get a nice bit of R&D there, me and Mick. Nice bit of a claim there. We're going to jump straight into quali. Quali is in the dry, so we're on slick tyres now. Just going to see how nice this lap can get to. As we come around some of the final bends here, and you see, oh, I'm expecting a little, to be a little harsher on the corner there due to being in the wet, but we're going to open DRS up, start our flying lap, and see if we can get a decent one in. Now, remember, I'm only doing qualifying here just to see what my pace would be like to other cars, and we completely missed the apex there. But we've got a 25 place grid penalty, so no matter what we come, we're coming last. So I don't take it too seriously. I just do one banker lap essentially, just to see what the decent, like the middle ground, the average pace would be. It feels weird doing it in the dry as well, because I did all the practice in the wet, but just to see what it's like as we go really wide there. So this isn't the best lap in the world. As you come down the final straight, we get 1 minute 34.3. Which it wasn't the fastest lap obviously, but it put us in 13, so we would have got into Q2 with that. Now it says 5 place grid penalty, so I could have actually done Q2, but as I said, it just takes an extra day to get all the data through. I do have a 25 place grid penalty, so I am starting last, but we do have enough for an R&D, and our ignition system failed, so we just quickly purchase that, get back on track, save some points. Or we do get whatever it is, the secondary wing flap, on aerodynamics, so now we can develop a couple there. All makes sense. All new parts fitted, which is awesome. And let's see if we can get a result starting at the back of the grid in France.
Welcome along then to France, host of the world-famous Tour de France. But we're not talking 2 wheels today, we're talking 4, in a country widely thought of as giving birth to the art of motor racing back in the late 1800s. We've come a long way since then, and you're about to find out how far. It's time for the French Grand Prix. We have 15 corners here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, 6 to the left and 9 to the right. The rain is coming down and making for a slippery racing surface, but luckily there is plenty of runoff available, and hopefully we'll be able to avoid bringing out a safety car during today's Grand Prix. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. And Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Albon. Ricciardo, Kvyat, Perez, and Lance Stroll, Sainz, Ocon, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Gasly, Norris, Raikkonen, Kevin Magnussen, and Roman Grosjean, Latifi, Schumacher, Russell, and Lewis. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Get this Grand Prix underway. So we are starting from the back of the grid. We're going to do a 0 pit stop strategy. I'm pretty sure everyone does a 0 pit stop strategy if it's available, because the track is not that long. 5 red lights. And out they go, and we get an absolute nailing start straight past Russell. We're going to go straight past our teammate and the other Williams as well. Down the inside, side by side with Grosjean as always. We're going to nip Magnussen as well, just late on the brakes. We're just going to squeeze them out there as we have the full line there. And we get a lovely 5 places straight away. As you can see, everyone kind of takes the racing line, which is really bizarre to me when you can kind of leapfrog a few if you just cut them off. You just park your car like a bus in front of them. They can't go anywhere. You get the nice position there as well. And we are actually flying in the wet. This car feels really decent in the wet. Everyone else is a bit hesitant on the brakes. We go round the outside, take a few more positions instantly, bang wheels with Carlos Sainz, but that doesn't matter. Get a little warning. I'll take the warning, but with the position though. Round the outside of the 2 Alphas, is that another Haas there? And bang wheels with the McLaren. Nice, nice, and nice again. Straight from last up into P12. We've gained 10 positions in the first 4 corners. That is insane. Rich mix is on. We're using overtake mode. You can see here, I'm hungry. I'm like, this car's got some speed on it. It's not bad at all. As we're catching up to Lance Stroll. Carlos Sainz coming down the inside again, trying to get the position back. We're having none of it. And we're going to use the slipstream of Stroll here. Trying to pull him into the corner. You can see we are gaining. Stroll in the Racing Point car here. Obviously, it performs a bit better in real life right now than it does in the game. As we go a little bit shaky there, hit the curb, missed the racing line completely, but do hop round the outside of Lance. Again, he goes too slow through that corner. He's trying to hit the apex perfectly. I'm having none of that. I'm like, okay, what's an apex? Let's go around the outside. I've got some speed. I don't really brake. I just kind of feather the throttle a little bit here. And that's all that's needed. The rain kind of slows me down. So I didn't really need to hit the brake at that point. And we're sitting lovely behind a Renault of Ocon, who's actually doing alright considering Ocon's not normally in the top 10 in this game at the moment. He's a little bit slow. Not like Ricciardo. Ricciardo's normally in the top 6 in a Renault, which is really impressive. Put him in a Ferrari or a Mercedes and he's going to win some races. Lewis Hamilton then sets the fastest lap of the race so far. We just glide past Ocon. As you can see, he's just not that fast. And we're not that fast. Our engine isn't that good, but for some reason, we are now flying. Our upgrades seem to have done a job down the straights in the wet at least. And now our next target. We are in the points as well. Don't forget that. We've got 1 point right now. Next target is Daniel Kvyat, and I'm hungry for more points. I'm going to gobble these points up. AlphaTauri ahead. He's doing alright. Daniel Kvyat's doing a lot better than Pierre Gasly right now. That's for sure. As we bang wheels again, he kind of nicks my line there. He goes round and then he swoops in the inside. He doesn't. I don't think he sees me. I'm in his blind spot. Kind of messes up my next 2 corners here. As you can see, I shoot down the inside. He doesn't give me any room. That is a long corner. That is an overtaking position. I don't know who's in the wrong there, who's in the right. Kind of just a racing incident. I saw a gap. He left a gap and then he closed the door a bit too late. That's my view on it. As we're sitting now behind Perez in the Racing Point. I want to say Force India so bad. I'm sure a lot of people do. Racing Point just sounds rubbish. Force India, that was a pretty cool name. And VJ was in charge, obviously. We just swoop around Perez. That corner seems to be getting all the AI at the moment. They seem to be really slow. As you can see, as I said earlier, Ricciardo always in the top 6 kind of. He's sitting in 7th, right behind Verstappen. Just swoop around the outside like it's nothing. They all take such a designated line here. As you can see, look. They all want to hit that apex. I don't care about the apex. It's not the fastest line through that corner in the wet. Maybe in the dry it is, but in the wet you can go around the outside and slow the car down enough to get a great exit and rocket yourself through. And this is only the end of lap 2 right now. We're about to start lap 3. We've gone up from P22 to P8. This car loves the wet. If every race can be on intermediate tyres, I'll be fighting for titles soon enough. Rich mix on. Gonna try and catch Ricciardo. Set a purple sector 3. That makes me think I am flying. This is where we're going to catch Ricciardo off guard. Smash into him, basically. I'm so aggressive here. I can feel the speed. I don't want anyone slowing me down because I want the best position possible. Especially after Canada, where I got absolutely robbed on the line by Verstappen from 6th place. Ended up 7th. I'm not complaining about 7th. 7th's a great place. As you can see here, using ERS and how much it uses in percentage-wise. Sucks the life out of you, but I'm catching up with the Red Bulls. Even they're not the fastest in the wet. The only fast players in the wet right now seem to be the Ferraris and the Mercedes. Red Bull seem to be a bit slower than their normal pace. I want revenge. That's what this is about. Revenge for Canada, in the wet, in France. It's going well. It's going well, this race. I'm using Rich Mix this whole way as well. I'm not overly using my ERS as I go completely off the track there, but I don't care. This is why I like France. You can just afford to go off the track and it's kind of still the track. As you make a long switch around the outside, trying to catch Verstappen napping here. But he's onto us now. We're setting a really fast lap here. Using the slipstream of Verstappen, we're going to just hit him on the brakes a bit late, make a dive down the inside, slot the car in front. Thank you very much. You got nothing to do with it, mate. Get out. And now, we're not looking behind us at Verstappen. We're looking straight above, looking at Alex. Albon is the Thai driver, Thai Brit there, is next on our radar as the Dutchman concedes a place. And Ricciardo's right on his tail. He's going to have to be careful. Danny Ricciardo's going to get him. Mr. Smiles himself. We set the fastest lap. I knew we would. We are absolutely flying down here. Late brakes. Cut the inside. Albon's fighting back. I'm going to battle with him. He runs me off the track slightly because I don't want to turn in too close and bang wheels and go spinning. Not when all this good work's done. I'm into 5th place. He's side by side. We're late on the brakes. And all of a sudden, yellow flag. What's happened? What's happened to Alex? Here we are. You can see the runoff area here. Side by side. Great racing as well. We're going to hit B later on the brakes here. I can't see what's happened. Nothing's happened to me. And we'll see it from Alex's point of view. I want to see what happened to Alex, whether he just lost it himself or whether I did touch with him. I don't think I touched. I thought it was a great move. He comes around the inside. I think his tyre just bangs the body of my car and he spins. It's a shame for Alex there, but it was great racing and I think that was his mistake. I had the complete outside line there. There's no way he should have been that close to me. I'll take that as a win for me. Won that battle. Alex caved out basically. And now Ricciardo has taken Verstappen, so he moves up into 6th place. A Norton and a Renault in 5th and 6th. Brilliant for us. And now Seb's on my radar. I've caught up with Seb by lap 6. Sebastian is going fast. He is. A lot faster than the Red Bulls were. Just have a little look where Mick is right now. Mick's sitting behind Albon. Last place again. So that means Albon is second to last, just behind the Williams cars. But he's making a recovery drive right now. But again, Mick's last. Is what it is. See if we can catch Vettel. Coming to the end of lap 6 here. Obviously there's no pit stops on this race. We're going to get Vettel here. We feel him. We feel. We're going to use ERS. We're going to catch up. He takes a full defensive line. Look, he's on the left, so we go through the inside. We take the racing line, and he cuts us off and brakes really harsh, and we hit the back of him, and he spins. Absolute silly move by Vettel. You cannot have both lines and cut me off that bad while I'm that close. Look, he just decides, no, I don't want the defensive line anymore. I want the racing line. It doesn't work like that. I'm lucky I didn't spin, but he has broken my front wing. We've got, well, not even halfway. We're just halfway through this race now, and it's so difficult to turn. And I'm like, no, not again. I'm going to have to be so defensive. As you can see, look, it's so difficult to turn this car. I don't want to make a pit stop because that will push me out of the points. And it'll be such a bad recovery drive from there. It'd be lucky to even make it into the top 10. Sergio Perez out of the race as well now. It's an absolute stormer in the wet here. After the battling with Perez earlier, his engine's gone. He has to sit out for this one, unfortunately. So we're up to Stroll to make points for the racing point right now. See if Lance can get into the points by the end of this race. We're going to have a very lonely drive, it seems, right now, until either Ricciardo catches up with us, which is inevitable with this broken wing, as we make it to lap 10, and we are still in 4th position, hoping Hamilton, Leclerc or Bottas have an engine failure and I can make it to a podium. Podium in Zandvoort, 3rd place. We're currently sitting in 4th. It's our second best result if we can finish here. It'll be incredible points. I believe that'll be 12 points plus 1 for the fastest lap of the race, so 13 points if we keep the fastest lap. I don't see anyone beating it, to be honest. I was absolutely flying down that time. Our tyre wear is really bad on the top left now, front left tyre, and it's only going to get worse over the next couple of laps. Left side of our wing is almost broken off. It's one off broken off, basically. Going to try and empty the fuel load, be really light in this car, try and get it around the corners. As you can see, Ricciardo is catching up with us as well. Not great for me. As we start lap 11 here, a couple laps to go. We've still got a decent ERS. I'm trying to save it. Obviously, there's no DRS because it's raining. It'd be too dangerous, I guess. To make it to the end of lap 11, start lap 12. Nothing happened, obviously, during lap 11. It's just a damage limitation. Ricciardo's knocked to 2nd off at the time, but he's not gaining as much as I thought. So maybe his tyre wear is really bad, and it's compensating for my badly damaged wing. As you can see, Jeff there saying that people are lapping faster than us behind by a second a lap. But if it's a second a lap, that means if I can maintain that, I'd still sit in lovely 4th place with the fastest lap of the race. I'm never catching Bottas, obviously. He's nearly 12 seconds ahead. Him, Leclerc and Hamilton having their own little battle. You can see using up all our ERS on this straight. This is the perfect place to use it. Just get that little bit of defensive drive as there's no DRS. If anyone else doesn't have theirs, then you gain a few horsepower advantage. I'm not sure what the ERS horsepower advantage is. It might be like 10. It's a decent amount. It's what that flashing red light is on the back of the car. If you ever thought it was a brake light, it's not. It's them charging the ERS. You charge it wisely, basically, and we're kind of maintaining the Ricciardo 3-second gap right now. So I'm quite positive going into this final lap, as we come around the last few corners here, that we might be able to pull off 4th place. Ricciardo is catching. With a few more laps, Ricciardo would have got me. I think will get me, rather. I do think Ricciardo's should get a better move than Renault. I'm glad he's moving to McLaren in real life, because I hope McLaren are on the up. McLaren are my team. Lando and Ricciardo is a funnier, but they're just, Ricciardo, in my opinion, is one of the best drivers on the grid. He's better than Carlos Sainz for me. I don't know what everyone else thinks. Let me guys know what you think is the best driver right now. Whether you think it is Hamilton, whether you think it is Verstappen, whether you think it is Leclerc. They're the 3 that people would say. If you put everyone in the same car, I still stand by Lewis Hamilton would beat you. I really do. It's not all Mercedes. There's a reason this is filmed after the Hungaroring, and there's a reason he lapped everyone except third the podium sitters. I think he lapped Vettel by the end, who sat in 4th or 5th. I think it was 5th actually. So he lapped 5th place. He lapped him twice as well. He had to do it a second time when he made a pit stop, and he managed to do it again. That Mercedes is ridiculous, but it shows how ridiculous he is when Bottas only gets 3rd. Yes, he made an error, but by logic he should be flying. I'm not sure Bottas can win the title unless something happens to Hamilton. Rosberg got under Hamilton's skin, and Hamilton had a lot of problems that year. And Rosberg still did the job. He still had to win the races to win, and he only just won. But that's how you beat him. It is so difficult to beat Lewis Hamilton for a title. I don't think Bottas has the cojones, as it were. I like him a lot, and I do want someone else to win other than Lewis. I'm not a massive Lewis fan, even though he's British, but I don't see anyone touching him while he's in F1. Unless you put Vettel in the same car as him, or Leclerc in the same car, or Verstappen in the same car. I'm not sure. Or unless Aston Martin Racing hire Vettel and they just have this overpowered car. As Lewis Hamilton does win the wet French GP. Congratulations, Lewis. I think that's 4 in a row for him now. And it's probably his like 8th of the season. I think he's only not won 1 or 2. Bravo, sir. Bravo. Great drive. 15 seconds ahead was Bottas. Ricciardo, look, he gets into the 1.2 seconds. We do manage to bring it home. P4. Amazing result. Massive tyre wear. I can't believe we actually got P4. One off a podium. The podium will come. The podium will come again. And it's looking positive for the future of this team.
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the team at Mercedes. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Magnificent race. We can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
As you can see, we got 4th place there. It's so close. 13 points. I was correct. Ricardo got 5th, which is awesome. Mick, last place again. Is what it is. He's not getting absolutely ripped apart, I guess, but Lance Stroll did manage to get some points. We managed to beat Lando again, 4 points to 2, which is awesome. So our rivalry is going well. 11 to 7 overall. Not bad at all for us. Nice bit of acclaim here. Reach level 7, which is awesome. Mick's in the 6s still. And we nearly hit level 9 on the team, which is awesome as well. 317 grand from sponsors, which is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Everything's awesome. If you have liked this video, guys, smash the button. Comment below. Let us know about the livery for Britain. Subscribe to the channel for more videos. And we'll see you in the next race. The Austrian Grand Prix. Woohoo!